Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. DataNinja here, and today we are diving into a topic that is crucial for every developer but often overlooked: Python's logging module. We'll cover what it is, how to use it, and some best practices to make your life a whole lot easier. What is logging? At its core, logging is the act of recording events that happen while a program is running. Think of it as a diary of your application. When something goes wrong, or even just when a key event occurs, logging gives you a trail of breadcrumbs to follow. This is far more powerful than a simple print statement because logging provides context, like a timestamp, the source of the message, and the severity level. Not to mention, if your application runs on a server, all the system output message will be lost and unseen. The first and most important thing to understand about Python logging module is log levels. Not all events are created equal. Some are critical, while others are just for debugging. The logging module uses different log levels to categorize these events. The standard levels from most severe to least are critical, error, warning, info, and debug. Critical means a serious error indicating the program itself may be unable to continue. Error, a more common error but still a serious problem. The program can likely keep running. A warning, an indication of something unexpected or a potential problem in the future. Info, confirmation that things are working as expected. This is for general purpose information. And finally, the debug, detailed information typically of interest only when diagnosing problems. You can set a minimum log level, and the logger will ignore any messages below that severity. For example, if you set the level to info, it will show you info, warning, error, and critical messages, but will ignore debug. But how to use logging? Luckily for us, the logging module is a standard in any Python installation. The easiest way to get started is with basic config. This is great for simple scripts and setting up the logger to output to the console. And if I execute this, you see all the messages are displayed as we expected. It is also important if you want to print out internal information of your application, for example, value of different variables, you can do it in a standard way. And even you can print out complex data structures like dictionaries, as you see here. So if you run this, you will see all the messages printed to the console, each with a timestamp, level, and the message itself. Another type of configuration what I'm going to show you is a dictionary config. For that, you will need to import dictConfig from logging config, and you can configure the logging with a very nice dictionary. As you see, we have one logger, it's called demo. It has one handler, a console handler, and the console handler using the logging stream handler that will write to the output, and it's going to use a standard formatter which we used in the previous message, in the previous example. So if I execute this, it will print out the info and the debug message as we expected. But what if you want to send debug messages to a file for detailed analysis, but only info and higher to the console so it is not overwhelming? You can do this by adding multiple handlers. For example, if you see here, in my app logger, I have a console handler and a file handler. And the console handler, the log level is set into info, and the file handler set it to debug. So once I create the logger, when I log a debug message, This will only appear in the file because of the log level, and the info will appear both in the console and the file as well. So let's see how it goes. Okay, as we expected, this will appear both in the console and the file. And if you check the app log, which we specified, yes, this is what we expected. It's also worth mentioning that you can configure your logger via a conf file. So for example, if you see this code, I'm using a file config with a logging conf, so I don't need to store the dictionary here, and I can do exactly the same. The logger config is very, very simple. I have a simple logger, and it has a console handler which will write to the console with the same formatter, and if I execute it, it prints out the message to the console as we expected. Also, sometimes it's very important to be able to set up log rotation. First, we import the RotatingFileHandler. We create a logger, and the RotatingFileHandler accepts a couple of arguments. For example, first is what is the name of the log file, the max bytes, which means it will check if the file size reaches 2000 bytes, it will start with the next log file. And the backup count means once it reaches 5 different logs, it will start removing the latest ones. So this is how it rotates them. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Okay, as you see here, I added a small time sleep, and I just managed to write all the messages to separate log files. Logging best practices. To wrap things up, here are a few best practices to keep in mind. Use loggers, not the root logger. In production code, always use logging getLogger __ name __. This creates a unique logger for each module, making it easier to trace where the log message is coming from. Second tip, keep your logging configuration separate from your code. A dictConfig or a file-based configuration is ideal for this. Really important, you just shouldn't log any secrets. Be careful not to log sensitive information like password or API keys. If you need a log request with sensitive data, make sure you sanitize it first. And also, worth mentioning, you can use fstring or format for messages. This is more efficient. The logging module will only format the string if the message level is high enough to be processed. And that's a quick look at Python's powerful logging message. I hope this helps you write more robust and maintainable code. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below or join our Discord server. The code will be shared on GitHub if you want to check it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.